right after Mr. Yakubu Ndokwemo called, and he, started off by saying that a lot of reforms are needed, and at the end, he sort of brought it up with even the local government chairmen are now going to have to be monitored because a lot more money is going to be coming their way for the people. Let it not be,
I don't know. I don't know what mechanism they want to use to get the local government chairman to have access to more money. I don't know. I'm yet to say that because it's a constitutional thing. The governors are powerful. Governors have been, rightly in my view, been accused of killing the local government because they are very...
In spite of the best efforts of President Muhammadu Buhari, for instance,
powerful.
who tried to go directly to them. But it didn't work.
It didn't work. So I agree with Mr. Yakub that we need a lot of reforms.
And well, if those reforms include the central bank, I'm sure Mr. Yakub is pleased to know that Mr. President has sent a special, what is it? Is it special investigator? Yeah.
Yes, a special investigator.
With vast powers to look into the goings-on.
Yeah, in the central bank. There are so many things. The NNPC, well, is being privatized. I mean, you have a corporate governance mechanism now there. But having said that, apart from the reforms that we have talked about, government must, as a matter of extreme urgency, also look inwards regarding the sacrifice they are asking people to make.
Okay.
You have been asking people to make sacrifices.
Yes.
Lead by example. You also should demonstrate that you are ready to be part of the sacrifice. It won't be fair, in my view, to continue to ask people to sacrifice and all of that. And you are not there are many ways you can go about that. That will be a discussion for another day.
Indeed, but on this program, we have often said that, look, there is a need for lowering the, reducing the size of government and consequent cost.
Cost of governance.
Exactly. Comrade Ayo in Oshogbo, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning.
And good morning to our guest in the studio.
Yes.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, first and foremost, let me start by saying that for the very first time since our democratic experience since 1999, we have a president who seems to be committed to the job. The president's speech yesterday, day before yesterday, shows that he is so much committed to the job and to rule Nigeria. However, having said that, Uncle Yori, I believe that the government should come out with solutions, short-term, medium-term, and long-term solutions. For short-term solution, I don't believe in monetary palliative. I believe palliative should be geared towards the reduction of food, because the ordinary man on the street do not understand the definition of subsidy removal except the reduction in food prices. So the government should immediately do something towards the reduction of food prices. The medium-term solution is to improve on agricultural produce. For instance, in Osun State, as we speak, we have about 3 farm settlements who, if properly utilized, can produce food for the whole of Southwest. So governors of each state should be directed towards agricultural production. Then the long-term solution is for our refineries to work. Definitely, if our refineries are not working, the problem will continue to persist. But if the refineries are working, then we will solve our problem, if not permanently, to a very large extent.
Indeed.
Furthermore, sir, as government, the government should also be proactive. Proactive in the sense that these people who are stealing our money, these people who are so corrupt, they are not gods. They are not bigger than the country. If the government is serious, these people should be brought to book and prosecuted for people to see that these are the people who are crippling our economy and stealing our money.
Indeed.
How on earth will somebody get money from CBN, dollars from CBN at the official rate, go to the black market and sell? And those who are genuinely who need this dollar to solve the problem, our economic problem, don't have access to it. They want to go to the black market and buy it. This is some of our problems. So these people should be brought to book.
I want to thank you, Comrade Ayo. I beg your pardon. Thank you very much, Comrade Ayo, for calling in from Oshogbo with those ideas, immediate, medium, and long term.
So, Comrade Ayo, you have spoken very well. I agree with him, but there are challenges.
Of course.
So, directing the governors to concentrate on agriculture is a good way to go. It's a good advice. But in practical times, it's impossible. Why? Agriculture has a gestation period. It requires lots of planning. Governors know that if they don't embark on road construction, infrastructure, bridges, and all of that, that people will say, they're not going to be elected for a second term. That is a major, major issue. It's political reform that will take care of that. For the submission on food, I agree with him absolutely. And part of my intervention here is how can we urgently, at least to engender food security, we still can do some things that will make agriculture a little attractive to people who are already involved in it, who carry out agriculture as a means of livelihood. They can make money from it. You can make it attractive.
Value chain.
Yeah, the value chain. Yes, you can do it in such a way that people who are not involved in it will see that rather than sit down at home, not doing anything, if you know there will be a ready market for your goods and produces, you're going to make money. They will up on the train and be part of it. And then, of course, the general challenges regarding how to move farm products from the hinterland to the urban areas, infrastructure, and all of that.
So all of those will still be present. I beg your pardon for interrupting. Will still be present because even though President Tinubu also spoke about, we have to begin to look at a year-round, agricultural season. This matter about, if we can now just, get ourselves to that place, which can be done because it goes back to science and technology.
It requires, Mr. President requires all our support. And he has, in fact, enjoined the governors to work with him in order to make life, worth living for our people, because times are really hard. And cost of living is very, very, very high, unbearable.
It is.
So
and he said he's aware.
Yeah.
That was very important. Situation.
Alluding to what Comrade Ayo said the other time, that it appears to be the first time since 1999 that you see a president that is committed to the job and is listening to what people are saying.
Apparently.
Let's keep ideas coming. After all, they were going to embark on 8,000 naira monetary palliative stipend to people, and people criticized it. And the government said, well, I've heard you. You don't like this mechanism. He has dropped it like an hot potato. And he has...
there are alternatives.
Alternatives.
That we're going to be looking
which
at.
to me, that if we support him, and again, it bears repetition, make sure you deploy technology to work with it.
Indeed.
We will.
Mr. George, calling in from Ikeja. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Yeah, thank you.
Uncle Yori, please, I want to say two things. One, your guest has talked severally about this postal data integration. I want to ask him, his ideas, or is it possible to merge it with this upcoming population census that is coming? Is it something he can integrate his ideas with the National Population Commission so that we'll have the data that can embrace everything that we're looking for in Nigeria in terms of data? That's one. Number two is the topic of today's discussion is Tinubu's reforms and unease with labor. Labor, as I said yesterday, is just on a political campaign. They are not protesting for the sake of the people. Everybody knows that. And you can see that the protest is failing or has already failed. But what I expected Labour, if we had Labour, what I expected Labour to do is to study the presentation of the government and see how implementation of those ideas can reach the people that they are claiming that they are protecting. The government has said, I'm going to give you 3,000 buses, CNG buses. How is 3,000 going to reach the people? Who and who? How many will go to each local government? How long will it take? What is the process? Who is in charge? We want to know. We want to ensure that it gets to the people. 75 people, 75 industries will get 1 billion naira loan. Who are these people? What are they going to do? And in what sector? And how is it realizable? Who is in charge? That's what I expect Labour to be doing. But they are not interested in all those. They have not come up with any single suggestion as to what the government should do. They think that they are still living in the past. They remove subsidy. Subsidy is done. And it is high time we realize that a new dawn has come to Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. George. Thank you very much, Mr. George, for calling in.
Thank you, Mr. George. Let me publicly say here that I'm going to make the technology at my disposal formally available to Nigerian Population Commission. I will write an official letter, and I want to do it free of charge. It will help Nigerian Population Commission because it's geolocation.
Yes.
And we must ensure that what they have done, they have acquired some technology to look at satellites, map, but mine is much more granular because it has gone to the minutest of details. 3 meters by 3 meters grid. It will capture everywhere, everybody.
Which must be what the population people want.
Yeah. You remember that when we were trying to set agenda for the president-elect after,
When he was president.
When he was president-elect, I came here and said, population, at the time that they wanted to do it, don't go area. You're not going to be able to contend with 3 major issues that are divisive. Look, people know that they use population as a means of sharing the national cake. So even if you do it in a way that it's the best, people will still dispute it anyway. Yeah. Don't do it in an election year. Okay? We are still battling with the issue of where we have gone to tribunal, we have not gone to tribunal. And then you're also going to withdraw subsidy. That has been withdrawn. So I agree with Mr. George. In the course of his submission, if you listen very carefully, he alluded, or he made reference to the issues I've raised there. The principle of who, where, and how. Everything government wants to do, please bear in mind, for God's sake, that the principle of who are you, digital identification, where do you live, digital address, and how, mechanism of how you want to do it. Those are conditions precedent for you to be able to achieve, some measure of success.
So there's a sense in which you identify with.
Absolutely, I agree with it. And then for the labor,
okay,
voice populi, voice there.
Yes,
the people on whose behalf labor is purporting to act are saying that you need to change your strategy. That hey, we have a president who is determined, who is committed, who is listening. So come up with ideas in practical terms.
Yes.
And they should be able to work together.
If you can't work together. Mr. Balogun in the UK, good morning to you, sir. Mr. Balogun in the UK. Oh.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Okay, then. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Please go ahead now.
Good morning. Yes, sir. Uncle Yori, thank you very much. Good morning, Uncle Yori. Okay. Concerning Labour, sir, let's start. Labour has nothing to offer. I'm sorry to say with that. Due respect to them. Because the same Labour that are talking today, they said, blah, blah, with them with what they are saying. But who are talking in this NNPC that turned into Komaso? Are they my employer? Are they not members? What have they done about it? That is
Is someone playing with a dialing pad there? A dial tone is interrupting your speech. Can you still hear us, Mr. Balogun? He's not there anymore, but just in case you're listening now, Mr. Balogun, as you were speaking, it looked as if a child was playing with a dialing pad, which I know would not have been the case. In fact, I don't know when I last saw a dialing pad, but you know, he was coming up there that as far as he was concerned, he wasn't getting the vibe from Labour that he thought he should have been getting. I've rephrased what he said, you know, but that was the way he said.
Labour must change its strategy. You can see people are calling and they're being critical of Labour. It simply means that, well, what people expect from them, they're not getting.
That's not what they're getting.
That's not what they are getting.
Complaints of complaints.
And therefore, it is incumbent on, and I can also call Labour out here. I mean, I love Nigeria. Nigeria has spent money on me, training and all of that. When the issue of $800 million subsidy palliatives came into the open, I wrote a letter to the World Bank introducing my technology that will assist the government ensuring that you have a register that is reliable, credible. And I sent a copy of the letter to the World Bank, to Nigeria Labour Congress. Not even a courtesy of acknowledgement of that letter, let alone engaging somebody who has an idea, who has a technology that can assist the government in resolving some of these issues. So,
in any case, when Labour's position, before 2 days ago when President Tinubu spoke to the nation, one would have expected that, well, because the president even said that they were, that is the federal government and Labour, were in discussions to see how we can, you know, raise the minimum wage and come up with some other kind of things. One didn't expect Labour to come back after that, although I read one report saying that Labour was saying that we're looking at we're reviewing our situation. But then you're also seeing people who are saying that we're still going to go ahead with
I think
action.
they found themselves between a rock and
a hard place.
And a hard place, you know.
Because President Tinubu coming out and speaking and telling the mind of government.
Labour can recalibrate.
Yes, yes.
They engage the government on two major issues, pressing issues that have bearing on cost of living, you know, the food transportation, I mean the cost of living, the transportation part of it. People are saying we are spending 70% of our money to transport ourselves from one place to the other, and then the issue of food security.
Exactly.
Some of the ideas I have dropped there in the course of the discussion, and I don't think I need to repeat them.
No. Ola in Ogba. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you, Uncle Yori?
Very well, thank you. Please go ahead.
And good morning to your friends, too.
Yes.
Good morning, sir.
I have one or two points to make. Honestly, maybe I will just add that, in my own opinion, it will appear President Bola Tinubu is not as smart as I expected. I would expect that by now, the National Orientation Agency, which is the most useless government agency in Nigeria, should have been moved from Ministry of Information to the presidency, so that they can appoint competent people to push out his ideas to every corner of this country. He doesn't seem to be doing that. National Orientation Agency is just as dead as anything. That's number one. Number two, the issue of refineries. We all know what we are going through in Nigeria. Everybody expects, in his last broadcast, we all expected him to talk about refinery. If government wants to take them over, repair them, put them to work, fine. Tell Nigerians. If you want to privatize them, tell Nigerians. Let Nigerians know your plan for the refineries. You cannot just keep quiet on the refineries. Bearing in mind that this refinery issue is a major issue in what's going on in this country today. Then number three, we're talking of agriculture. If you say, okay, all over the states want them to go into massive agriculture, when will that start? Let us start now. There are crops that you can go in 2 months, in 3 months. All you need to do is mobilize soldiers if you have to. Mobilize some police if you have to give farmers the necessary security so that they can produce all over the country. In Benue, in Plateau, in Sokoto, they can produce tomatoes, they can produce pepper, they can produce so many things in a short time. But then on the long time, you can be talking of oil palm, you can be talking of yam, and every yam will take about a year. But common vegetables will not take more than 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
We can't do all this.
All right, then. Thank you very much. I appreciate your call. Thank you very much, Mr. Ola, calling in from Ogba. He majored on the National Orientation Agency, refineries, and then agriculture.
Valid point. I agree with him that the National Orientation Agency should be reinvigorated so that you can carry along the people with your plans, what you want to do for the people, how you want to lift them out of poverty. I agree. Refinery seems to be the elephant in the room. And I think it is deliberate. Mr. President did not say anything regarding it. I don't think those refineries can be rehabilitated anymore. I'm not an expert. But from what I've read, from my interaction with experts, it does appear to me that they have become scraps. Don't quote me. If a president... We know that if we have refineries working, okay, the cost of refining and all of that will come down, and then PMS per liter will come down. But you need money to do that. I mean, if a government, this president inherited a government that has been spending 97 or 95% of resources on debts, on recurrent expenditure. In business, it's not a going concern. Ordinarily should have, gone bankrupt.
That's right.
So why would that government get money to fix the refineries? They have done turnaround maintenance for so many years. We have not seen any
waste.
It's a waste. Maybe it's a no-go area, and Mr. President, being a financial expert that he is, knows that this is not the way to go. Now, you are saving money from subsidy. It's not as if the money is somewhere. Okay, so the money you are saving, you're going to get from that. You must wisely spend the money and not go into a kind of bottomless rehabilitation. If, because of technology, what you have is more or less a scrap, you better cut your losses and move on so that we don't have this kind of sentimental, attachment to our refineries must work here. That's the right thing to do in the circumstance. To build new refineries, it's going to cost a lot of money.
Of course.
And government doesn't have that money. Of course.
And then we've spoken about agriculture.
Absolutely.
He said that there's very little.
We have to.
Well, this is the kind of conversation. It's about Nigeria. We could go on for ages. Unfortunately, we don't have that time. But I think we've highlighted that there is a need to juxtapose or link records keeping,
absolutely,
in order for the success of whatever the presidency is thinking about.
Let's be part of this new, digital economy that is driven by technology. Even security.
Indeed.
You will be surprised that, and we know that substantial part of our problem regarding security is because we have proliferation of small arms and what have you. How do they come into Nigeria?
Well, we're going to have to leave it there with that rhetorical question, because a lot of people can begin to guess. There's this insincerity of our people.
Because you have consignors that put in fake addresses. So we should be able to know whatever you are importing, where they are going into. It is also encapsulated under the principle of who, where, and how.
Indeed. And what the president said about, the president would have been speaking from knowledge that there are fat cats. There are fat cats in the system. For now, we can't say much more about that. But I want to thank you very much, Asiwaju Bisi Adegbuyi, Asiwaju Odiremo, legal practitioner and immediate past Postmaster General of the country.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure. Indeed, that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition.